What's up, everybody? I'm Matt.
And I'm Beth.
And today we're going to be reviewing the interior in the 2021 Lexus LC 500 convertible. This interior is also the same as the non-convertible version for the most part, so this applies to both. But man, it is a sweet interior. I've loved the LC 500 since they came out a couple of years ago, and now the convertible is brand new here for 2021. And I love how this interior is just as futuristic looking as the exterior, in my opinion. You know,
it's definitely really cool, like these little swish marks and everything. I really like it.
Yeah, the door alone is like a work of art. You have these handles that pop out of the door. It's just like a floating handle. There's no ugly lock mechanism or anything. You have just this very cool material. Although this is kind of hard for this like elbow point right here, which is not luxury like.
It's definitely decently hard. And one thing too is that this red does not match the other red, like the red in the middle and also the red on your side, but I do not have that on my side. It's just black here.
Yeah, but there's like actually 3 different shades of red, because this doesn't even match the seats. So the seats are a different shade of red than this is, and then this is darker. So it's like all kinds of variation. And it is worth mentioning this is a pre-production unit, so maybe the color match will be better on the other ones. This car, by the way, is so early in this car's life that I don't even have a window sticker. I don't have an MSRP for you at this time. I will include it in a little text box there or in the description once I do have pricing, but this is very early on. This car will not be available until late this summer, so I'm very appreciative of being able to get in here early. But anyway, first thing, sitting down in these seats, I do love the quilting you have here on certain parts of the seat.
They're super comfortable.
Yeah.
I like them a lot, and I think I like the bolstering. It does hug you in, but it hugs you in a nice way that doesn't necessarily mean super sporty or anything crazy like that. It's just like a nice luxurious feel. Yeah,
it's enough but not too much.
Right.
And I also love how they're heated and cooled here. Cooled seats are clutch in a convertible because driving around and you can get pretty hot and sweaty, and that helps a lot.
I know from experience, my very first car was a convertible and it had black leather seats, and it was an older convertible that didn't really work super great, and sometimes the AC did not really work, and it was very uncomfortable. It made me hate convertibles, but this car has definitely turned me around and made me like convertibles way more.
Yeah, it's really great. And I mean, they have so many features to make this as luxurious as possible with the roof down. So, like I said, they're heated and cooled seats. You have a heated steering wheel to keep you warm too, but there's also neck warmers. It's part of the Lexus, I think they call it the Climate Concierge. And so it intelligently will figure out if it's cold out and you have the roof down to put all that stuff on. It'll actually even amp up the heating in the vents and stuff, so that it'll actually be blowing more hot air through the vents whenever it knows that it's cold and the roof is down. And I even noticed when it was hot with the roof down, it was blowing air conditioning through the vents here pretty nice and strongly. Unfortunately, the neck warmer is only a warmer, not a cooler. It'd be nice if it could blow some AC through there, but right now it's just heating, but that is a super nice feature to have. It is something that a couple of the competitors have, but not all of them, and so I love that. I think it's really great. And actually, last night I was cruising on the highway. It was a little bit colder, even though this is summer, it gets cold at night, and that did a really good job, and I'm sure once it's actually really cold in winter, that would make a huge difference. So that's great. That is an option you have to add with part of a touring package, but it's certainly, I think, worth the extra money if you're spending this kind of money anyway. So fantastic seats. Steering wheel is also great here. You have an awesome 9-3 grip, nice 10 and 2 notches, your basic Lexus buttons here on the front of it. I like the stitching on it, and you also have these metal paddle shifters, which have this really nice textured feel to them. It's not perfectly smooth, but it just feels really cool and very high quality. I love how large they are as well, and I've been using them quite a bit here as I've been driving, and so I really like the way that's set up. I also love the gauges here in the LC 500. Now, they're pretty standard with what you get on any other Lexus, but I think this is one of the coolest gauge setups still. I mean, it's very concise. You just have the tach and the speedometer right there in the middle, your basic stuff on the sides, and they do this in this tiny little area whenever other companies have this massive display. You don't need it here in this, but if you do want additional info, you just hit this button and then it does the cool party trick where that slides slides over, and then you have your G meters and all the other readouts you want there if you want to look at all that kind of stuff. But if not, then it just nicely simplifies with just that stuff, and it's so futuristic. And this whole gauge pod, you have these little knobs here on the edges of the gauge pod to change your drive modes. There's also a heads-up display, which is very high-tech. It'll show you the tach and your compass as well as your speed, and a nice, clear, and pretty large heads-up display too, which is an extra option too, but I think it's a nice one to have. And even with polarized sunglasses, that heads-up display does work pretty well. It's not as bright, of course, but it still, does remain visible even with polarized glasses, which is nice. Coming over to the center of the dashboard here, right up top, you have this beautiful 12.3-inch widescreen display. Now, it is not a touchscreen. Usually, touchscreens are what I prefer. I think it's a little easier. But you have this Lexus touchpad, which is okay. It's the same as like on a laptop or something. It's not the most precise. And yes, it's not great. But with the design of this interior, I'm willing to give them a pass because it's way too far away to reach. And I love the way that the dash is set in with not only the screen, but you also have this panel by the air vent and stuff that actually at night illuminates a little bit, which is really cool. The nighttime illumination in this vehicle is really great. It's hard to pick up on camera, but you have a whole line of illumination here on the door as well as that little panel there, and it looks great.
One thing that is really nice though about the screen being set back is that when you do have the top down and it's a bright sunny day, you will still be able to see that screen, which is very nice because some screens just get way too much glare on them and you can't see them. So it's nice for that reason.
Yeah, that's a very good point, and that's something that would really probably irk you if you didn't have this solution. I think Lexus was very smart the way they designed that, and it's also the screen isn't prone to any kind of reflections, and of course you don't have to worry about fingerprints with the touchpad. And again, it just really fits well with the design of this whole setup. Now the menu system and stuff is pretty simple. I do like how you have little shortcuts when you hit the menu button to jump into some things, but I don't like the fact there are no hard buttons to turn on the heated and cooled seats or the heated steering wheel. All that stuff you are forced to go through the screen, and it's multiple clicks to get to. That's not great. I do wish they would have put a couple more buttons, maybe in front of the shifter here or something, so that you didn't have to dig into the screen there. That's the only complaint I have with this interface. And one nice thing too, so the 2018, back when I reviewed that, had no smartphone integration. 2019, they added Apple CarPlay, and for 2020 here, we also have Android Auto. So now you have both included, and you just plug it in here through one of the USB jacks, and then it is a gorgeous CarPlay display because it uses the entire width, and it really looks sharp. Your music when you're listening to it with CarPlay, having the huge album art that's honestly like the size of the palm of my hand. It's like really cool with this massive screen, the way they integrated CarPlay. And it's also paired up. This one has the optional Mark Levinson reference stereo system, which is 915 watts and 13 speakers, and it is pretty powerful. And I didn't play with the settings a whole lot. It sounded a little treble heavy whenever I was driving, but I'm sure you can dial it in for whatever your preferences are. It's really powerful. It sounds really good though, because especially with the top down, you want to have a nice powerful stereo. There is a standard stereo that'll probably sound pretty good too, but this Mark Levinson system I think is probably worth the upgrade. Again, if you're spending $100 grand, you might as well spend a little bit more for that.
Also, once again, Lexus continues to carry a CD player, so if you have your CDs and you're one of the old school types, there you go, you've got it, and you can throw all your extra CDs somewhere else in this car.
Yeah, there's not a lot of storage space, which we'll get to in a minute, but it's great that they're hanging on to the CD player, and I still think CDs do give you a really good sound quality still, so, with the Mark Levinson, it'd probably be really good, and yeah, it's a funny thing. There's also your climate controls around there as well, which have this really actual, like, metal finish to this whole area, which is really high quality, feels great. But yes, storage space in the LC500. As much as I love this car, storage space is not great. So it's obviously a sporty coupe, so you can't expect too much, but even compared with some other competing coupes and convertibles, this isn't great. You have map pockets in the doors, which are pretty shallow, no bottle holder or anything, but at least you have a pocket there. But as far as cup holders go, you have one real cup holder here, and that is it. You do have this other little cutout back here that you could use as a cup holder,
but if you're trying to put like a big gulp in there, it's definitely not gonna fit.
Yeah, no big
not
gulps
like
allowed.
We have big gulps all the time, but like if you have like a large drink, it's gonna tip over if you go around a corner.
Yeah,
it would stay in this, but like it would definitely tip over, and there goes your very nice interior.
Yeah, so I think passengers are going to be forced to hold on to their beverage in this car for sure.
Yeah, which is kind of annoying because you want to be able to ride in style and like not have to hold your drink the whole time.
I don't know why they did that. I was hoping maybe they would change that over the couple of years since this car debuted, but still sticking with that, and that's okay. In this area though, another thing is you might be wondering where the convertible controls are. I actually was fumbling around for about 20 minutes trying to find it, and then you found them.
No, I actually just hopped in the car, we were ready to go, and I was like, what's this? And he goes, I've been looking for those for 20 minutes.
Yeah, so it's a very nice hiding space there, but in normal LCs, this is just, a hard piece of, like an armrest kind of thing, and in this, it actually opens up. It's kind of cool how it's hidden.
It's very clever.
Yeah, and I just love the shifter, how small it is. It's shift by wire, so there's no actual mechanism. You just, flip it down for drive, and I love, the metal volume knob you have, which is illuminated at night as well, and it just feels so good to use. You also have the little tune and seek track rockers there, which also feels so high quality. They have absolutely nailed what a $100,000 interior should feel like. This feels every bit of that. Everything is padded, by the way. The whole center tunnel here is padded and feels nice. All your knee points, like I said, the elbow point is strangely firm. That might also be because this is pre-production, because I remember the regular LC500, this was nice and plush, so not sure what's up with that, but everything else is so nice with all this stitching that's contrasting and stuff. It's just really great. You also have this center armrest, which is nice and padded. You open that up, and then you'll see 2 USB jacks, an auxiliary jack, and a shallow area there, a power outlet as well. You can fit a sunglasses case and a couple of things like that, but nothing too big in there, but nice to have that at least.
But when you do open that, it is very driver friendly. It is not passenger friendly at all. So when he opens that, I cannot see the USB jacks. I can't see anything unless I were to get out of my seat. Then I would see everything. So
it's all blocked off.
If you're a passenger, you will not enjoy this just because you can't get in it unless you look very hard around it.
Yeah, and a lot of other companies do have this with like a double hinge where it opens both ways. I feel like that would be a very easy thing to do in this. I'm not sure why it doesn't, but it would be nice if you could have it open up the other way as well. Also, adding to the luxurious feel of this interior, you have this 4-layer fabric top here, and so that really insulates the vehicle well, and I think it actually looks pretty good too from the outside, the way they did the soft top here, and that helps reduce the weight instead of having a bulky hard top. And also, by the way, the top will go down in 15 seconds and up in 16, and you can do it at speeds up to 31 miles per hour. So even if you're slowly rolling or you're at a red light or something, you should be able to get that top up or down nice and fast. Back seat here in the LC500 is tiny. It probably would be usable for small children, things like that. I do remember in the LC500 Coupe, I was able to squeeze back there, but I think it was a little bit of a less aggressive seat back for the convertible, or for the hardtop. I could be wrong, but that convertible, I mean, if with my seat in its position, I don't think I could fit behind myself. It's a really tight back seat. Probably best just for storing extra stuff and not so much for people, but I think you could squeeze someone, especially if the passenger is willing to have their seat way far up. I could see, seating someone behind there, but behind the driver is going to be kind of tough, I think. Right. But that it is good you have some space back there to throw some stuff, because the trunk is tiny in the LC500 as well. It's very shallow. That's the thing I wasn't expecting, and some of the competitors have a little bit more depth to that trunk. Most stuff in this segment doesn't have a huge trunk, but it's a decent width. It's just the length isn't there, and like I said, very shallow. And so even like my camera bag, you can see just barely clears the trunk lid there. So, and that's not a big bag. So it's a small space, but you can fit a large umbrella or something in there, no problem. Things like that. So reasonable size things. So yeah, not a ton of space, but kind of comes with the territory with this type of vehicle. Overall, I still think honestly this is one of my favorite interiors just from a design standpoint. I love, the grab handles and just, everything is just so dramatic. And with so many bland interiors, and it's copy and paste with so many manufacturers where everything looks the same. Every BMW interior looks the same. Every Mercedes interior looks the same. I like that this looks nothing like any other Lexus. It's really unique and really is exciting just as much as the outside is exciting as well. So I think they did a fantastic job with the LC interior here, and I think it's a very cool car.
Yeah, Lexus, just send us one. We would really like to have one.
Yeah,
so maybe we'll own one in the future.
Yeah, possibly. This one is going to be one that's going to be tough to give back. It's a very cool place to be.
Yeah, we like it a lot.
Yeah. But anyway, let us know your thoughts on the LC500 convertible in the comments below. Thank you guys very much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
Take care.